In an era where conflicts and adversarial relationships seem more pronounced than ever, both on personal and societal levels, the ancient philosophy of Stoicism offers timeless wisdom on handling disputes. Stoicism, a Hellenistic philosophy founded in the early 3rd century BC, teaches the development of self, control and fortitude as a means of overcoming destructive emotions. It's not just a philosophical doctrine, but a practical guide for leading a fulfilling life, emphasizing virtue, wisdom, and well-being through rationality and self-discipline, rather than resorting to retaliation or surrender. Stoicism proposes a middle way, focusing on non-violent strategies to not just win over one's enemies in the conventional sense, but to transform adversarial relationships into opportunities for personal growth and mutual understanding. Through the lens of Stoicism, we explore 5 strategic principles that guide us in engaging with those we consider our opponents, not to defeat them, but to reach a higher understanding and peace. Before we can apply Stoic strategies to our interactions with adversaries, it's crucial to grasp the core principles of Stoic philosophy. Stoicism teaches that the path to eudaimonia, a state of being in good spirit or flourishing, lies in living in agreement with nature, which includes recognizing the natural order of things and our place within it. Central to Stoic thought are the 4 cardinal virtues: wisdom, Sophia; courage, Andrea; justice, Dikaiosune; and temperance, Sophrosyne. Wisdom involves practical wisdom or prudence, the knowledge of what is good and evil. Courage is not just physical bravery, but the moral courage to stand up for what is right. Justice signifies fairness and the practice of dealing with others in a fair and equitable manner. Temperance or moderation relates to self-discipline and control over one's desires and impulses. These virtues guide Stoics in all aspects of life, including dealing with those they disagree with or consider their enemies. The Stoic response to conflict is rooted in rationality and self-control, emphasizing understanding and empathy over aggression and discord. Stoicism also distinguishes between what is within our control, our own thoughts, feelings, and actions, and what is not, such as the actions of others, our social status, and most external events. This distinction is crucial in managing adversarial relationships, focusing on our responses and attitudes rather than attempting to control or change the other person. Applying Stoic philosophy to conflict resolution. In applying Stoic philosophy to conflict resolution, the goal is not to suppress or ignore the conflict, but to engage with it in a way that is constructive and beneficial for all involved. This involves a shift in perspective from viewing the other as an enemy to seeing them as a fellow human being, subject to the same flaws and suffering as ourselves. It is from this understanding that we can begin to apply the 5 non-violent strategies to win over our adversaries. 5 non-violent strategies to win over your enemies. 1. Empathy and understanding. Empathy and understanding stand as cornerstones in the Stoic approach to resolving conflicts and transforming adversarial relationships. This profound strategy, deeply embedded in the philosophy of Stoicism, emphasizes the cultivation of a mindset that seeks to comprehend the emotions, motivations, and perspectives of those we might consider our opponents. The power of empathy in conflict resolution cannot be overstated. It is the bridge that connects differing shores of opinion, allowing for mutual passage to understanding and peace. The practice of empathy involves a deliberate and conscious effort to step into the shoes of another, to view the world through their eyes, and to feel the emotions they might be experiencing. This does not necessitate an agreement with their viewpoint, but requires an acknowledgement of their humanity and the validity of their feelings. It's about recognizing that, like us, our adversaries are navigating the complexities of life, shaped by their own unique experiences, beliefs, and fears. Understanding motivations and fears. Every individual's actions and beliefs are driven by underlying motivations and fears. These forces, often invisible to the naked eye, can significantly influence one's behavior and reactions. In conflicts, what appears on the surface might just be the tip of an iceberg, with much more lying beneath. By striving to understand what motivates our adversaries and what fears might be driving their actions, we can gain insights into their behavior, which can, in turn, inform our approach to resolving the conflict. For instance, an adversary's hostile stance might be motivated by a fear of loss, a desire for security, or a need for recognition. Understanding these underlying factors can transform our perception of the conflict, shifting it from a battle to be won to a problem to be understood and solved. This shift in perspective is crucial, as it moves us from a position of opposition to one of potential collaboration. Application in daily life. Applying empathy and understanding in our daily lives requires patience, practice, and a genuine commitment to seeing beyond our own viewpoints. When engaged in a conflict, it's helpful to pause and ask ourselves several questions about our adversaries. What are they really trying to achieve? What fears might be driving their actions? How would I feel in their position? This practice of questioning and reflecting can help to escalate emotions, allowing for a more rational and compassionate approach to the conflict. Moreover, this empathetic approach fosters an environment conducive to dialogue and resolution. When adversaries feel understood, they are more likely to be open to hearing our perspective. This mutual understanding can pave the way for finding common ground and working towards a resolution that acknowledges the needs and concerns of all parties involved. Diffusing anger and opening avenues for dialogue. Anger and frustration are common responses in conflicts, often serving as barriers to resolution. Empathy has the unique power to diffuse these emotions, not by negating them, but by acknowledging them. When people feel heard and understood, their defensive barriers tend to lower, making them more receptive to dialogue. This does not mean that conflicts are resolved instantaneously. Rather, it opens a pathway through which constructive conversation can occur. Opening avenues for dialogue through empathy involves active listening, a willingness to ask questions, and a genuine curiosity about the other person's perspective. It requires setting aside our own prejudices and judgments to truly hear what the other person is saying. This process can be challenging, particularly in heated disputes, but it is essential for moving towards resolution. Empathy is a path to inner peace and resolution. Beyond its utility in resolving external conflicts, the practice of empathy contributes to our own inner peace and personal growth. By cultivating an understanding of others, we develop a deeper sense of compassion, not only for our adversaries, but for humanity as a whole. This expansion of empathy enriches our character, aligning us more closely with the Stoic virtues of wisdom and justice. Furthermore, The practice of empathy and understanding in conflict resolution reflects the Stoic principle of focusing on what is within our control. While we cannot control the actions or beliefs of others, we can control our reactions to them. Choosing empathy over antagonism is a powerful demonstration of this principle, showcasing our ability to respond to conflict with virtue and integrity. In conclusion, empathy and understanding are not merely strategies for winning over enemies, but are essential components of a virtuous and fulfilling life. By embracing these principles, we can navigate conflicts with grace, foster deeper connections with those around us, and cultivate a sense of peace and wisdom that transcends the discord of adversarial relationships. 2. Self reflection and personal improvement. The Stoic approach to self-reflection and personal improvement is a profound method for dealing with adversarial situations. It emphasizes the importance of introspection and the cultivation of virtue as means to not only navigate conflicts, but to transcend them. In this light, personal improvement is not just an inward, focused endeavor, but a transformative process that impacts our interactions with others, including our adversaries. The importance of self-reflection. Self-reflection is the cornerstone of Stoicism, encouraging a meticulous examination of one's thoughts, actions, and motivations. It demands honesty with oneself, a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths, and the courage to change. This process is crucial in conflict situations, where it's easy to be caught up in the heat of the moment and react impulsively, often exacerbating the conflict. By engaging in self-reflection, we gain a deeper understanding of our role in the conflict. We can identify instances where our actions may have been driven by pride, anger, or misunderstanding, rather than virtue. This realization is the first step toward personal improvement, as it highlights areas where we can grow and change our behavior to align more closely with Stoic virtues. Cultivating virtue in response to conflict. Stoicism teaches that the cultivation of virtue, wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance is the path to a good life. In the context of dealing with adversaries, these virtues guide us toward responses that are not only constructive for resolving conflicts, but also beneficial for our personal growth. Wisdom involves understanding the nature of the conflict and discerning the most virtuous course of action. It requires us to look beyond immediate emotions and consider the broader implications of our responses. Courage is the moral strength to confront our faults and the resolve to act virtuously, even when it is difficult. It means standing up for what is right, even if it involves admitting our mistakes or extending an olive branch to an adversary. Justice involves treating others fairly and with respect, recognizing their inherent worth as rational beings. In conflicts, it means striving for resolutions that acknowledge the needs and rights of all parties. Temperance, or self-control, helps us to restrain negative emotions and impulses that can escalate conflicts. It allows us to respond calmly and rationally, rather than out of anger or vengeance. Application in daily life. Applying self-reflection and personal improvement in daily life, especially in conflict situations, involves a consistent and conscious effort to embody Stoic virtues. This might manifest in various ways, such as pausing to assess our emotional state before responding to a provocation, choosing words that are constructive rather than hurtful, or making a deliberate effort to understand the other person's perspective. Additionally, personal improvement in the Stoic sense is an ongoing process. It involves setting personal standards of virtue and holding ourselves accountable to them, even in challenging situations. This might include daily practices such as journaling to reflect on our actions and responses, setting specific goals for personal growth, and seeking feedback from trusted friends or mentors to gain insight into our behavior and its impact on others. The transformative power of virtue. The pursuit of virtue in the face of conflict has the power to transform not only ourselves but also our relationships with others. By embodying Stoic virtues, we become models of constructive behavior, influencing those around us through our example. This can have a profound effect on adversaries, who may be inspired to reconsider their own actions and approach the conflict from a place of greater understanding and respect. Furthermore, personal improvement grounded in virtue fosters a sense of inner peace and resilience. It equips us with the tools to navigate adversarial situations with grace and to find satisfaction not in winning the conflict, but in knowing that we have acted with integrity and virtue. In conclusion, self-reflection and personal improvement are essential strategies for dealing with conflicts in a Stoic manner. By examining our role in conflicts, cultivating virtue, and striving to embody these virtues in our interactions, we can transform adversarial situations into opportunities for growth, understanding, and peace. This approach not only resolves conflicts more effectively, but also contributes to our journey toward becoming more virtuous and fulfilled individuals. 3. Effective communication. Effective communication, as highlighted by Stoic philosophy, is foundational in resolving conflicts and building harmonious relationships. It transcends mere verbal exchange, embodying clarity, honesty, and the genuine exchange of perspectives. In the crucible of conflict, how we communicate can either fortify divisions or pave the way to mutual understanding and resolution. Stoicism, with its emphasis on virtue and reason, offers invaluable guidance on navigating these communication challenges. The art of active listening. At the heart of effective communication lies the skill of active listening. This goes beyond merely hearing the words of another. It involves a deep engagement with the speaker's message, both verbal and non-verbal. Active listening is characterized by a genuine intention to understand the other person's perspective, free from the desire to respond defensively or to argue prematurely. In practice, active listening requires patience, openness, and a suspension of judgment. It means giving the speaker your full attention, acknowledging their feelings, and reflecting back what you've heard to ensure accurate comprehension. This process not only helps clarify the message, but also validates the speaker's experience, making them feel heard and respected. In the context of a conflict, such recognition can escalate tensions and foster a safer environment for honest dialogue, expressing thoughts with clarity and respect. Stoicism teaches the value of expressing one's thoughts with clarity and respect. This involves articulating your views and feelings in a way that is direct yet considerate, ensuring your message is understood without causing unnecessary hurt or offense. Effective communication in this sense is both an act of self-expression and an exercise in empathy. To communicate effectively, it's crucial to choose words carefully, to speak from personal experience using I statements, and to avoid generalizations or accusatory language that may put the listener on the defensive. For instance, instead of saying, "You never listen to me," try expressing, "I feel unheard when my concerns are not addressed." This subtle shift in phrasing can make a significant difference in how your message is received. Bridging gaps through understanding. Effective communication has the power to bridge gaps and foster understanding, even when agreement seems out of reach. By prioritizing the exchange of perspectives and seeking to understand before being understood, parties in conflict can identify common ground and explore solutions that respect the needs and concerns of all involved. This process may involve asking open-ended questions to explore the other person's viewpoint further, summarizing their points to confirm understanding, and expressing empathy for their feelings and experiences. Through such engagement, communication becomes a tool for connection rather than contention, opening pathways to creative problem solving and mutual respect. The role of honesty and kindness. Honesty and kindness are two pillars that support the Stoic approach to effective communication. Honesty ensures that communication is genuine and meaningful, providing a solid foundation for trust and integrity in relationships. Kindness, on the other hand, ensures that honesty is not wielded as a weapon but delivered in a way that is constructive and considerate. Balancing honesty with kindness can be challenging, particularly in heated conflicts where emotions run high. However, the Stoic practice of self-control and mindfulness can aid in maintaining this balance, allowing us to communicate our truths in a manner that is both courageous and compassionate. Cultivating effective communication as a Stoic practice. Cultivating effective communication in line with Stoic principles is a practice that extends beyond individual conflicts. It is a lifelong endeavor that enhances personal growth, relationship building, and social harmony. By committing to the principles of active listening, clear and respectful expression, understanding, honesty, and kindness, we can transform our interactions and navigate conflicts with wisdom and virtue. In conclusion, effective communication as advocated by Stoicism is a comprehensive approach that encompasses listening deeply, speaking truthfully yet kindly, and striving for mutual understanding. It's a practice that not only resolves conflicts but also fosters deeper connections with others, reflecting the Stoic ideals of wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance in our daily lives. Through the diligent application of these principles, we can aspire to not just communicate effectively, but to live virtuously and harmoniously in all our relationships. 4. Setting a positive example. The Stoic principle of setting a positive example through virtuous living is a powerful tool in navigating and resolving conflicts. This approach underscores the belief that our actions and demeanor can significantly influence those around us, including our adversaries. By embodying the virtues of wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance, we not only elevate our own character but also offer a beacon of inspiration for others to follow. Even in the most turbulent times, the impact of virtuous behavior. Virtuous behavior, according to Stoicism, involves acting with reason, fairness, bravery, and moderation. In the context of conflict, this means approaching disagreements with a calm and rational mindset, seeking fair resolutions, standing firm in our ethical convictions, and regulating our emotions and responses. Such behavior can profoundly affect the dynamics of a conflict, making it more difficult for hostility to persist in the face of consistent respect and kindness. The impact of setting a positive example is twofold. Firstly, it serves to de-escalate tensions by demonstrating that dialogue and resolution are possible without resorting to antagonism or retaliation. Secondly, it challenges adversaries to reflect on their own behavior and, perhaps, reconsider their stance in light of the virtue displayed by others. The power of consistency. Consistency in virtuous behavior is key to its effectiveness as a strategy for winning over adversaries. It's easy to be kind and rational when circumstances are favorable. But the true test of Stoic virtue lies in maintaining these qualities even in the face of provocation or hostility. This consistency sends a powerful message that one's commitment to virtue is unwavering, not conditional on the behavior of others. This does not imply passivity or submission. Rather, it represents a conscious choice to respond to conflict in a manner that upholds one's values and integrity. By doing so, we not only preserve our peace of mind, but also open the possibility for constructive engagement with our adversaries, inspiring change through example. The Stoic practice of setting a positive example is not merely about personal moral superiority. It is a genuine attempt to inspire change in others. Human beings are inherently social creatures, influenced by the attitudes and actions of those around them. By witnessing virtue in action, even those initially opposed may be moved to reconsider their approach to conflict. This influence is often subtle and indirect. Change may not occur immediately, and in some cases, the impact of our example may never be fully known to us. However, the aim is not to seek validation or acknowledgement, but to remain steadfast in our commitment to virtuous living, trusting in its intrinsic value and potential to foster a more harmonious environment. Practical applications in daily life. Applying the principle of setting a positive example in daily life involves a continuous effort to cultivate and exhibit Stoic virtues, regardless of external circumstances. This can manifest in various ways, such as exercising patience and restraint in responding to provocations, choosing to address conflicts with a cool head rather than through heated reactions, demonstrating empathy and understanding towards others, even when their views or actions are opposed to ours, practicing fairness in all dealings, ensuring that our actions reflect a commitment to justice and equity, maintaining humility, recognizing that we, too, are fallible and capable of error, which fosters a spirit of forgiveness and reconciliation. The ripple effect of virtuous living. The Stoic endeavor to set a positive example extends beyond individual conflicts, contributing to a broader cultural shift towards virtue and reason. Each act of kindness, every moment of patience, and all instances of fair dealing contribute to a collective atmosphere in which virtuous living is valued and emulated. In conclusion, setting a positive example through virtuous behavior is a potent Stoic strategy for dealing with adversaries. It embodies the conviction that our actions can inspire change, diffuse tensions, and lead to more positive outcomes in conflicts. By committing to live according to Stoic principles, we not only enhance our well-being but also contribute to a more virtuous and harmonious society. 5. Finding common ground. The Stoic approach to finding common ground amidst conflict is an essential practice. not only for resolving disputes, but also for fostering a deeper sense of unity and cooperation. This principle is rooted in the Stoic understanding that all humans are part of a larger whole, sharing fundamental values and aspirations despite surface level differences. By identifying and emphasizing these shared elements, we can transform our relationships with those we consider adversaries, finding pathways to peace and mutual respect. The essence of commonality. In any conflict, the focus often narrows to the points of disagreement, overshadowing the vast areas of potential agreement and shared interest. Stoicism encourages us to shift this focus, to broaden our perspective and recognize the common human virtues, desires, and challenges that unite us. This can include basic aspirations like the pursuit of happiness, the desire for respect, and the need for security and peace. Finding common ground requires a conscious effort to listen and understand the other party's perspective, to dig beneath the conflict and uncover the underlying values that might align with our own. This process is not about compromising one's values, but about recognizing that at a fundamental level, we all share certain virtues and goals. Practical strategies for identifying shared values. Identifying shared values in the midst of conflict can seem challenging, but there are practical strategies that can help. Active listening. Truly listening to the other person can reveal underlying values and concerns that you might share, even if you disagree on the specifics. Asking open-ended questions. Encourage your adversary to express their views and motivations more fully. This can uncover common ground that might not be immediately apparent. Reflecting on universal human values, consider the broader values that most people agree on, such as fairness, justice, and compassion. How do these values play into the conflict at hand? Seeking shared goals, even in disagreement. There can be shared goals. For instance, in a workplace dispute, both parties likely share the goal of a productive and harmonious work environment. Building on common ground. Once common ground has been identified, it can serve as a foundation for building mutual respect and understanding. This doesn't mean that all disagreements will magically disappear, but it provides a basis for more constructive dialogue. From this shared foundation, it's possible to explore differences with an attitude of curiosity rather than confrontation, seeking solutions that respect the interests and values of all parties. The Stoic virtue of cooperation. Stoicism teaches that human beings are inherently social creatures, meant to live in harmony and cooperation with one another. Finding common ground is a manifestation of this principle, encouraging us to see beyond our individual perspectives and work towards the common good. This doesn't necessitate a loss of individuality or a suppression of personal views. Rather, it's an acknowledgement that our shared humanity is a powerful bond that can overcome even the most entrenched conflicts. Examples of finding common ground. In personal relationships, finding common ground might involve focusing on shared love and concern for family members or mutual goals for personal growth and happiness. In professional contexts, it might center on shared objectives for the success of a project or the well-being of a team. Even in societal or political conflicts, there can be broad agreement on fundamental issues like the importance of peace, security, and prosperity, even if the means of achieving these ends differ. The transformative power of shared understanding. The process of finding and building on common ground has the potential to transform conflicts in profound ways. It can change adversaries into allies, or at the very least, respectful opponents. It encourages a shift from a zero-sum mindset, where one party's gain is seen as another's loss, to a more collaborative approach that seeks win-win solutions. This not only resolves the immediate conflict, but also lays the groundwork for more positive and cooperative relationships in the future. In conclusion, the Stoic practice of finding common ground is a powerful strategy for dealing with conflicts. It requires us to look beyond our differences, to recognize the shared values and goals that unite us as human beings. By focusing on these points of commonality, we can build bridges of understanding and respect, transforming our relationships with adversaries and fostering a more harmonious and cooperative world. Implementing Stoic strategies requires practice and patience. Start small, with daily interactions, and gradually build your capacity to apply these principles in more challenging situations. Remember, Stoicism is not about suppressing emotions or avoiding conflict, but engaging with life's challenges in a wise and virtuous manner. Winning over your enemies through Stoic wisdom is not about defeating them or proving them wrong. It's about transforming adversarial relationships into opportunities for growth, understanding, and mutual respect. By applying the principles of empathy, self-improvement, effective communication, positive example, and finding common ground, we can navigate conflicts in a way that promotes harmony and well-being for all involved. Stoicism offers a path to not only resolving conflicts, but also to living a more fulfilled and virtuous life. In embracing these strategies, we find that our enemies can become our greatest teachers, providing us with opportunities to practice patience, understanding, and compassion.